service needs of the future. The township is presenting a balanced budget for 2026, and if adopted by the Board of Supervisors, it will not require any changes in tax rates. The real estate tax revenue is based on the current taxable value as of October 17th, 2025. The 2026 tax millage is proposed to remain at 2.99 mils for the township and 0.48 mils for the fire departments, or a total of 3.47 mils. And within the context of an unpredictable world, we're responsible for managing a broad range of operations in an analytical and prudent manner. The township budget is the plan by which we protect against uncertainty from within the organization, as well as from outside. It is intended to make our actions in the world around us as predictable as possible. The budget provides a big picture perspective and expresses priorities and directs the financial support needed to accomplish our goals. The 2026 budget contains funding to enhance recreational facilities, fund our community centers, provide increased support to Cooper Siegel Community Library, and continued support for professional police department and our 3 successful volunteer fire departments, as well as, I should mention, funding also for our EMS. The budget also provides the Public Works Department administrative staff with equipment and technology necessary for the township government's operating and capital needs. Indiana Township officials are proud of the enhancements which have been made to the township's facilities, roads, parks, sanitary, and storm sewer systems. The financial plan envisioned in this 2026 budget builds upon those successes and lays the groundwork for the future. Next, you see the table of contents, the list of all the funds individually and their fund totals. And the total budget for 2026 is $8,755,307. And I'll go through each of those funds, starting with the general fund.
Dan, before you, quick question, 2025 budget, this seems, what was the 2025 offhand?
The total,
Mm-hmm.
Ann's gonna pull that up.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm just
have
curious where we're at from what
it in my
year.
office. I should have brought that in here too.
And no worries, I just wanted to have a point of reference.
That's a good point. With 7 point,
It was 7 and
Yeah,
change.
It's like 7.5 is what I was.
yeah,
thinking.
6, I think it was.
Okay,
That's, I was surprised to see the 8.7. I'll pick a number, see the win. 7.6. You said 7.6. You said 7.6.
20, oh, it's coming up now. Of course, it's not on this one. It was 8.36.
Wow.
8.3. What was the?
8,389,201.
okay, thank you, Ann. Okay, Dan, thank you.
So difference of 300, almost 400,000. Okay, on the general fund revenues, the real estate property taxes are $2,460,000. The real estate tax millage remaining the same. The anticipated total revenue from real estate taxes is higher as a result of the new developments. 3.47 mil tax is levied on all commercial, residential, and non-exempt real property, and that provides 2.99 for the township and a 0.48 for the fire departments. The townships, we already went over the assessed value. The prior year line item is the real estate tax remitted to the township after 12/31, billed in 2025 and collected in 2026. And the delinquent line in is 2024 in prior years' real estate taxes. And the Act 511 is $2,658,475. And that's a combination of the real estate transfer tax, the earned income tax, and the local services tax. Permits, licenses, fines, and interest. The total is $264,500. Cable franchise fee, the 5% of the sales revenue generated by Comcast, Consolidated, and Verizon, who have contracts to utilize the public right of way.
Hey, Dave, do you know how long that, contract's gonna last?
Which one?
The one with the cable franchise?
They're all different, which each of them are different, and they're rotating. And they've been shortening the terms of the Verizon, which we're just renewing now, is down to like 5 years. They used to be 10 years at a time, but now you're seeing more like 5 to 7 whenever they renew.
Okay. Comcast, you know what Comcast is?
They're separate. Comcast, we're further into it, but I think it's another one that's around 5. I think it's 5 years. I have to pull out what they are. But you know, we've had them all, you know, when they come before us. Right now, we have, the Cohen Law Group redoing the Verizon. They've been doing that, it's been all year. We initiated that last year. The rents and royalties of $105,000, and federal and state shared revenue grants, $295,475. Charges for services, that's $678,000 even, and that reflects the permits for code, police fees, for services, and new development transportation fees. Public Works, $166,530, and that reflects reimbursements from state and county for the snow removal, as well as the reimbursement for sewer maintenance provided by the Public Works Department. And this group reflects the fees charged by Deer Creek Drainage Basin Authority for fire hydrants of Oakmont Water Authority customers and Rosedale residents. And the Hampton, Shaler, and Fox Chapel Water collector and hydrant fees, so those aren't reflected. Workers' compensation, dividend, and healthcare reimbursements, $105,000, and recreation fees and current assessments of $210,500 gives us a total general fund revenue of $6,943,480. Now we'll go to the expenses tab. Start with the legislative body. It's $42,025. Administration, $642,050. Financial auditor and tax collection is $97,800. Government buildings, $265,700, and those are funds used to maintain the township properties. Police, $1,710,468. Fire, emergency medical services, $105,100. This group has been adjusted due to the fire tax being recorded in a separate fund. Only expenses paid for from the general fund are recorded there. Code enforcement, $264,900. Planning and zoning, emergency management, $79,200. Public works, $1,922,916. And you'll see if you look at the detail of that those funds continue to show the township's investment in the roads and other public infrastructure. I point you to page 7 of the general fund, public works, actually page 8. It's over to page 8. You'll see the 01-432-45. Road maintenance materials. We were budgeted $500,000 for 2025, and we're budgeting for $700,000 in 2026. And you'll also note, if you look down the next 2 sections down, the maintenance, maintaining roads and bridges. We have those 3 line items, which in the past, you see, weren't budgeted for separately, we didn't budget for those separately from the road materials. Those items used to be paid out of that same fund, but now we budget for those additional $160,000 separately. So that's a total of $860,000 just between those two line items in infrastructure improvements for 2026. Historical Commission is $500. Participant Recreation and Parks, $58,100. Cooper Siegel Library, $25,000. If you remember, we discussed this subject with the library folks, and this represents an increased donation of 25% over 2025. So we did send them $20,000 for 2025, and are anticipating $25,000 for 2026. Civil Military Conservation and Development of $18,600. Loans of $455,195, and that includes the interest, fiscal agent fees, and principal payments for the general obligation bond. And the insurance is $1,025,926, and the tax refunds and interfund transfers is $230,000, which gives us a total expenses balanced at $6,943,480 for the general fund. Next is the DARE fund. You see that's proposed at $15,500. And then the fire fund 05. And that's the real estate property taxes, and we covered that, and that's $345,134. False alarm fees of $3,500. Interest earnings of $12,483. And cash balance forward of $3,383 for a total of $364,500. Expenditures for the fire fund and the insurance of $44,000. And fire departments of $315,000. And that's with each of the fire companies receiving an equal share of the 2025 real estate tax revenue. And materials and supplies of $2,000, and refunds of $3,500, for a total fire expenditures of $364,500. Profit run is $979, and that's only gonna see a change in that if there are new additions or tie-ins to that line. Rosedale Water, $6,780. Then we'll move into the sewer funds. Ottawa is $106,000 is proposed budget revenues for 2026, and the $106,000 is the expenditures. Middle Road 1, $184,890. Middle Road 2, is $89,620. Then Fairview, the last, is $44,000, and that's the last of the sewer districts. Capital reserve revenues, $31,000. Capital improvement fund, we'll go to the summary of the revenues for capital improvement. Interest earnings and grants of $8,000. Water revenues, and that's repayment of the Rosedale water line installation from residents, $6,720. donations of $5,000. Sale of equipment, and we have 2 trucks and 1 police vehicle, and anticipate $70,000. The trash transfer and cash balance forward of $315,780. And that includes the transfers from the general fund, interest earned from capital reserve, and the use of the fund balance, for a total capital improvement of $405,500. The general government expenditures of $100,000, and that will be used to replace the fire panel at Public Works Garage, as well as maintain all buildings. Public safety is $105,500, and that'll be secure cabinets for the Sally Port prisoner areas are needed in the code enforcement software upgrade. And Public Works, $200,000, and that's for the purchase of Public Works truck. For a total capital improvement expenditures of $405,000 for 2026. Did they get the 5-year, Ian, did they get the 5-year capital plan?
No, do you need that?
Yeah, I'd like to at least distribute that so
Okay.
that they see that. I could finish the state fund though before we do. The last fund is the state fund revenues, $6,000 in interest. Act 655, which is liquid fuels, $222,798. Act 32 funding of $20,760. That's the turn back funding, and the cash balance forward, $97,000. That's the amount designated as equipment balance being used towards vehicle purchase. And then the purchase of a truck and equipment, $147,000, and snow and ice removal, $137,558. And traffic signal street lighting of $62,000, and that's for the maintenance, contract, insurance, and operating costs for the traffic lights and street lighting. The total of the state fund of $346,558. So that's the last of the township funds. We do have a capital budget, 5-year capital projection to give to you all, so that you have that. And that just really outlines our capital purchases anticipated. And it's you'll see it's cyclical, similar to prior years. It's just we escalate the number and make sure we have that there for future planning.
Well done. Thank you for keeping the budgets in line.
Yep.
No tax increase. Well done, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Good, anybody? Not, we'll adjourn the budget workshop.
You guys public business. Public business, public wants.
Just that.
I'm sorry. Okay.
See, I put them to sleep.
Come on. Have a snicker.
No, you don't find that as exciting as me?
All right, you just need a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn the public meeting.
We have a motion from Supervisor Jorgensen, a second
least you
from
just
Supervisor
swore.
Khan. Any further comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Budget workshop is adjourned.
Well, thank you all. I can tell you it's
Not tease you, Irving, come on.
It's really nice to be able to present a budget that doesn't have a tax increase, and after those words, I don't think people hear much of what I say.